boys and girls. Welcome back to story time. Today I'm going to read you a story about 3 little pigs. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who lived at home with their mummy. Even though they were all grown up at the age of 47. They were triplets, you see. Their names were Putten, Shutten and Cutten. And one day Mummy said, "Right, you lazy buggers, I've had it with you dragging your lazy pigs' asses around this house every day. You don't lift a trotter to help, nothing. I do all your washing, cooking, make your bed, the cleaning." And though they tried to object, she wasn't having any of their grunting. "You can pack your stuff, 'cause tomorrow morning all 3 of you are moving down to Kon-burra, where I have acquired 2 acres containing 3 sheds, a timber cow shed, a brick barn and a straw bale dunny. From here on, you're on your own, boys. Grow up, pig up, and don't fuck it up." Well, boys and girls, the piggy kids were speechless. And then it was grumble, grumble, moan, moan, whinge, moan, grumble for the next 12 hours until the number 9 bus stopped outside their door the next morning and with a "Bye-bye, boys, away you go then. Good luck. You're gonna need it down there in the big boys' pig pen." Mummy Pig let off a round of celebratory fireworks and off the bus trundled. Vroom, 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 vroom. With their little curly tails tucked between their fat little legs, these 3 little piggies sniffled and griped and snorted and snouted all the way to the end of the line, where the bus driver let them off at the front gate to their new homes. Putten, being the eldest by 5 minutes, claimed he had first choice, and therefore he was moving into the brick barn. "Not fair, not fair," cried Shutten and Cutten in unison. "You always get the first pick." But Putten just poked his tongue out and strode off with his little piggy bag on his little piggy back to the brick barn and slammed the door. "Typical," muttered his brothers. Then they played rock, paper, scissors to decide who should get the remaining structures. Shutten got the timber cow shed, Cutten got the straw bale dunny. For the next week, the brothers got on with the job of turning their structures into a home, and when they were done, they settled in as cosy as, well, pigs in blankets. By the end of the 2nd week, their houses looked, well, like a pigsty. There was no one to do the cleaning, the washing, the ironing, the vacuuming, scrub the floors and the bathroom. They even had to do their own cooking. And their kitchens, their kitchens. Oof. Not only that, they were running out of money fast. They decided to have a round table, pig trough meeting on common ground. "What are we going to do?" moaned Cutten. "How are we going to make money to pay for a cleaner and buy food?" "Maybe we could ask Mother to visit," Shutten asked hopefully. "She'll probably clean it for us while she's here." "Don't be ridiculous," grunted Putten. "No, porkers, we're going to have to get jobs." "Jobs?" his younger brothers squealed. "What can we do? We're not trained for anything." But Putten stood up and declared, "Don't worry, porkers, I've got the answer. I've been reading the newspapers. The mainstream business here in Kon-burra is politics, and we are made for this business." But the brothers squealed, "We don't know anything about politics, and is there any money in it?" Putten laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed until he was almost out of breath. Then he said, "Porkers, in Kon-burra, politicians get paid to get fat, laze around and do nothing while somebody else does the work, leave their shit around for someone else to clean up, talk garbage and grunt when asked to be accountable for anything, and they get to bring home as much bacon as they want anytime they want it. Three little piggies were so happy and excited. They danced around the trough, laughing and squealing, fit to burst. Yippee! They snorted. Yahoo! They grunted. And off they went to start their new job straight away. Well, boys and girls, in no time they became experts at the con, which of course is what Kon-burra is renowned for and how it got its name. They conned the parties and they conned the voters. They conned the lobbyists. They conned the public servants. They conned the media, and they became famous. They also became very rich and didn't have to worry about money for food or cleaners or big fancy cars. They built a mansion and moved out of the brick barn, the timber shed and the straw bale dunny, and oh, they had a wonderful time. Until one day, Mother Pig heard the news and she was furious because, of course, Mother Pig wasn't a native or a fan of Kon-burra. She wanted her pigs to grow up and earn an honest living. Putting on her best hat and hopping on the next livestock transport heading south, she arrived at the property. First, she went to the straw bale dunny and hammered on the door. Little pig, let me in. No. But there was no answer. She kicked the door in and saw the mess, and she got very angry. She stormed over to the timber shed and banged on the door. Little pig, you lazy trotter, open up and let me in. No answer again. Putting her shoulder and all her weight to the door, it collapsed in, and she could see that this place was just as dirty as the last. Furious now, and heading to the brick barn, she knocked daintily and called in a sweet voice, "It's Mother dear, I'm here to visit." Because she was a clever pig mother, and she'd read the original story. She knew she wasn't going to knock this sucker down. When there was no answer here either, she stamped her hoof and looked around, and way up at the end of the back paddock, she saw this monstrous, ugly McMansion. She put 1 and 2 together to make 3 little pigs in shit, and knew what had to be done. Pulling out her dainty pink mobile phone, she made some calls and waited. Within 15 minutes, streaming towards the ugly mansion were media vans, helicopters, federal police cars, fraud squad, drug-sniffing dogs and their handlers, hundreds of protesters, and as Putten, Cutten and Shutten were handcuffed and loaded into vans, whittling and squealing, wee, 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 all the way, they were headed for the chop. Mother Pig simply waved a cheerful farewell as they passed by, then hitchhiked home. The next day, curled up in her old comfy sofa, in her dressing gown and slippers, she switched on the telly to hear the news about the 3 little pigs who were no longer free but bunged up in the clink on dozens of charges of fraudulent behaviour and lots more like. So, girls and boys, the moral of this story is the 3 little piggies could have remained free little piggies if they had stayed in their own backyard, cleaned up their own mess, kept their noses clean, and obeyed their mother, where they could have lived a lovely life until the old porker died, inherited her wealth, and became Kings of Pong. The end. Three juvenile delinquents have to go away. They made their share of trouble in the Kon-burra bubble. They liked crime, they sure learned how to hustle. Soon there'll be a film to bastardize them, talk about the walk of shame. Sykes will try to analyze them. I'd like to paralyze them, 'cause mothers get the blame. I should have whipped their bums more, locked them in their rooms for all their naughty deeds. They were sneaky little buggers, those three triple brothers. Ooh, three juvenile delinquents, every now and then. When kind old aunts tried to coax them to be better, they just say, "I'll stick it up your cracker." Nowadays the younger generation never has to face brute force. Some old judge, instead of flagellation, put him on probation. I complained till I was hoarse.